Ever catch yourself wondering, like, what makes people tick? Why we do the things we do, even when they make absolutely no sense?
It's like we're all puzzles, even to ourselves sometimes.
Exactly. So today, we're cracking the code, going on a deep dive into human nature itself.
And we've got a heck of a guide. Robert Greene, the master of strategy and hidden motives.
We're breaking down his awesome conversation with Jordan Harbinger.
All based on Greene's book, The Laws of Human Nature.
It's going to be good. Get ready to see yourself and everyone around you in a whole new light.
It's eye-opening for sure.
So, right off the bat, Greene drops this bomb. Our childhoods. Way more impactful than we realize.
And I don't just mean, oh, I'm scared of spiders because one crawled on me when I was 5.
That's deeper than that.
It's like those emotional patterns we pick up early on, even traumas. They become these invisible blueprints, shaping how we interact with the world even years later.
As adults, even if we have no clue it's happening.
Precisely. Like we think we've moved on, but those early experiences, they leave a mark.
Wow. So it's less about specific events and more the overall emotional vibe of our upbringing.
Exactly. Like imagine we're all carrying this invisible baggage from our past.
Okay, I'm with you.
And here's the kicker. That baggage, it's not just affecting us.
Wait, really?
It influences how other people see us, how they react to us too.
Whoa. You're saying, like, that time my boss totally freaked out over my project proposal.
Could have been their baggage talking.
Not even about my actual work.
It's possible. Greene uses this analogy. Picture everyone walking around as a bundle of emotional baggage.
Okay, visualizing that.
And this baggage, it colors how they see everything, how they interpret your words, your actions, everything.
So it's not always personal, even when it feels crazy personal.
Often not at all. And that, my friend, can be incredibly freeing.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Think about it. How much lighter would you feel if you could just shrug off rude comments, dismissive gestures?
Like water off a duck's back.
Exactly. Knowing it's probably their own internal drama, not something you actually did.
That would be life-changing, honestly.
It can be a total game changer for how you navigate the world.
So we're all walking around with this baggage, reacting from a place we don't even realize. Where does self-improvement fit into this whole thing?
The million-dollar question.
It feels kind of daunting now, honestly. Well,
you're not wrong. Greene, he doesn't sugarcoat it. He's upfront about how our brains are wired.
To take the easy way out.
It's like we're hardwired for instant gratification, even if it means, sacrificing the long game.
So those late-night cookie binges when I know I should be working on my novel.
Oh, it gets me every time.
That's just my brain doing its thing.
Think of it like this. Greene compares our minds to gardens. You leave them untended.
Things get out of control.
The weeds of instant gratification, procrastination, bad habits, all that, they go wild.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So to see any real growth, it's like we've got to do some serious mental gardening.
Got to cultivate that inner discipline. It's a process.
Okay, and just when I thought I was wrapping my head around that, Greene throws this other curveball. Envy. Are we supposed to, avoid that at all costs?
You'd think so, right. But Greene, he's got this fascinating take. He actually sees envy as a potential force for good.
Wait, what? Envy. Good.
Yeah. Think about it. Envy, it comes from comparison, right? Seeing what others have, what we might want.
So it's kind of primal, right? Like back in the caveman days.
Exactly. Knowing who had the best hunting grounds, the sturdiest hut, it kept us competitive, striving for more.
So you're saying instead of letting envy eat us up inside, we can harness that energy.
Channel it into something positive. Say your friend lands their dream job. Instead of stewing in envy, use that as fuel.
To figure out our own path. Like, what steps did they take? What skills did they develop?
You got it. Turn that envy into a blueprint for your own success, not a recipe for misery.
That is a serious perspective shift.
It's about action, Emulation, not resentment. But of course, Greene acknowledges the dark side of envy, too.
Especially when you've got those people who weaponize it, right?
Oh, yeah, the envier types, as he calls them.
And he gives us the warning signs to watch out for.
Yeah.
One that I was like, oof, I know that one was the backhanded compliment.
They're masters at it. Seems like praise, but it's got that little sting.
And their tone gives them away every time.
Oh, totally. Like that friend who's just a little too eager to share bad news, especially if it's about someone else's success taking a hit.
It's like they want to see you stumble.
Right. And then there's that advice they give you, almost like they're trying to sabotage you.
So it's not just about recognizing these types, but protecting ourselves from their influence.
We've all felt a twinge of envy. It's human, but when someone's constantly tearing others down, it's toxic.
So it's about boundaries, figuring out who's worth keeping in our lives and who's bringing us down.
Exactly. And on that note, Greene dives into this idea that we're all way more irrational than we realize.
Oh, tell me about it.
Our emotions, they often drive the bus.
And we come up with the reasons after the fact.
All the time. It's like that feeling when you're ordering nachos. You know you shouldn't get the extra large.
But your stomach's already made up its mind.
Greene uses this great metaphor, the rider and the horse. Our emotions are this powerful horse and our rational mind.
Trying to hold on for dear life.
Our rational mind is the rider who has to learn how to wrangle those reins.
So it's not about ignoring our emotions, but understanding them.
Exactly. Recognizing our own biases, learning to question our assumptions.
That's got to be easier said than done.
It's a journey, but it's worth it. And the cool thing is, Greene and Harbinger, they don't just leave us hanging with these big ideas.
Thank goodness. I need some practical advice here.
Right. They give us tools. Like one that really stuck with me is downward comparison.
Downward comparison.
Instead of looking at those who have more than us, focus on those who have less.
Kind of a reality check on what we actually have to be grateful for.
It's a powerful gratitude reset. Shifts your whole perspective.
I like it. What else?
They also talk about resisting that initial emotional pull, like your nacho dilemma.
Oh, man. The struggle.
Give yourself a beat. Pause before you act, whether it's nachos or a big life decision.
Let the rational mind catch up a little.
Exactly. It takes practice, but it gets easier. Oh, and remember how we were talking about counterintuitive advice?
Oh, yeah, like, tell me I'm wrong.
Well, get this. When asking for a favor,
Don't remind them of all the favors we've done. Got it.
actually, Greene says, remind them of the favors they've done for you.
Wait, really?
It feels so backwards, but it plays into our desire to be seen as good people.
Like we're giving them a reputation to live up to.
Exactly. We're appealing to their better nature, encouraging them to act generously again.
Wow, psychology's weird.
It's fascinating, right?
I can see that. It's like we're subtly saying, hey, remember that time you were awesome? Let's do that again.
Exactly. Greene's all about those subtle nudges, those little insights into how we operate. And speaking of insights, he doesn't just focus on our baggage, he dives into recognizing the baggage other people are carrying around.
Okay, yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. Less about our own stuff, more about spotting the patterns in everyone else.
Right. It's like becoming an amateur anthropologist observing the human zoo. For instance, Greene talks about those people who are, well, drawn to drama.
Oh, yeah. Like they seem to attract chaos wherever they go.
It's like they thrive on it. And Greene suggests a lot of it stems from, unresolved stuff from their past.
They may not even realize they're doing it.
Yeah.
So how do we deal with that? Do we need to, get them into therapy?
We can't fix other people,
Right.
but we can recognize the patterns, protect ourselves. So, does this person constantly play the victim, always blaming others?
Okay, I'm seeing where you're going with this. It's about setting boundaries.
Exactly. Recognizing when someone's drama is starting to affect our own well-being. And then there's one character type Greene talks about that I think we've all encountered, the deep narcissist.
Okay, before we go there, I just want to say we all have some narcissism, right? It's not always a bad thing.
Totally. We need a healthy ego. But these deep narcissists, they're on a whole other level.
So what sets them apart?
Greene explains how they often lack a stable sense of self-worth. So they're constantly seeking validation from outside sources.
And that's where the trouble starts, right?
Hmm.
Because that need for validation, it never really ends.
And it often comes at the expense of others. Greene says they can be master manipulators, super charming at first,
Luring you in.
but then they twist the narrative, use you to get what they need.
So how do we spot them? They sound kind of slippery.
It's tough because they can be so convincing, but pay attention to those inconsistencies. Does their image match up with their actions?
So it's about protecting ourselves, recognizing when someone else's needs are starting to outweigh our own.
Exactly. And this is where Greene brings it back to us. He says how we see ourselves plays a huge role in all of this.
So if we walk around thinking we're not good enough, we're going to attract people who confirm that.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, Our beliefs shape our reality.
So how do we break free from that?
Greene says building a strong sense of self-worth is key. Not arrogance, but a deep down belief in our own value. It lets us set those healthy boundaries, attract people who appreciate us for us.
Okay, I'm feeling the need for a serious confidence boost after all this talk about envy and narcissism.
Well, that's the beauty of Greene's work. He doesn't shy away from the messier parts of human nature, but he gives us tools to navigate it all.
So it's not about being perfect, but being self-aware.
Exactly. Understanding our own flaws, our worms, as Greene calls them. That's where growth comes from.
And connection too, right? Being able to relate to other people, even with all our imperfections.
Absolutely. Greene gives us this roadmap for self-awareness, for understanding ourselves and the people around us. And honestly, I think that's the key to living a more fulfilling life.
It's a journey, for sure, but it sounds like a fascinating one.
Oh, definitely. And with guides like Robert Greene, we don't have to navigate it alone.
There you have it. Another deep dive into the wild world of human nature.
We covered a lot today: childhood baggage, the power of envy, those tricky narcissists.
And most importantly, how to use all these insights to live a better, more fulfilling life.
It's about self-awareness, compassion, and a little bit of humor along the way,
Because let's face it, humans are complicated.
to say the least.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.